How much do actors really make, right? We always hear these crazy numbers. Tom Cruise, 100 million for Top Gun, right? Will Smith, Men in Black, 100 million. Keanu Reeves, he got 80-something million back in '99 for The Matrix. By the way, that's the producer. I'm not trying to name drop, but that's Barry Osborne, the producer of The Matrix. And they had no idea the film was going to be that successful, so they gave him a bunch of points. Actors get points instead of a paycheck, and it blew up, and he made so much freaking money. So there it is. You hear about all these crazy numbers, but what's the truth? What's the reality? What can you really expect to make as an actor? So in this video, I'm not only going to talk about that, I'm going to talk about how to go about making that money and increasing your chances to make even more. Ready? My name's Jim Jarrett. I'm your personal acting coach. I'm your private acting coach, so take advantage of this. So the obvious way to make a lot of money as an actor is in film or television. In television, you really have to be on a series that runs, that goes multiple seasons. There's an old saying that if it goes at least three seasons, you're basically set for life. The way that the contracts have been revised when SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, went on strike, they struck for more residual pay. Back in the day, back in like frickin', in the 60s and 70s, actors got hosed. They didn't get residuals. Things ran and it was like tough luck, right? So we finally woke up and struck for that. I think it was in '88, my first year being a member of SAG. There's a big strike trying to increase our residuals and our compensation for after the fact. Everyone else is making money afterwards. Why shouldn't we, right? So residuals for actors are a wonderful thing. I'm laughing because I did an episode of Columbo 1,000 years ago, and I got a residual the other day, a residual check, I think it was for like $4 after taxes. And so there's a bar in Hollywood, it's famous, it's called Residuals. If you walk in with your shitty residual check, it was like 19 cents. I have a friend of mine who's famous, who gets a residual check from one of the first things they were ever on. His name is Jimmy Perrick, and he played the role of Hoyt. And I don't want to talk about his salary, I can't do that. But I just know that even though he wasn't one of the major leads of True Blood in its final seasons, he was a recurring role. And his compensation was very, very good, but he deserved it. He's an incredibly talented actor, that's why they kept him around. And season after season. Again, you can literally, Friends, when their last episode, they're making $1 million an episode, right? All of them are making $1 million. But these days, if Friends were shooting now, hell, they'd be making even more. It just really depends on how successful the series is. The more successful it is, the more money your agent and managers will negotiate for you. And your first year, you're grateful, let's say, to even be in the episode. But then you become the star of the episode and it blows up. Hell, man, you can stand to make millions and millions of dollars just for that season, and then of course the money that comes. The other way, of course, is in feature films. Once you become a big star, your agent's no longer taking 10%, they're taking like 3% because you're making 40, 50, 60 million dollars a picture. If you're an actor, let's say working in Hollywood, and you're not a star yet, but you're working. You are. You did a couple films, a couple nice, sweet little films. I'm not talking independents. I'm talking major motion pictures by studios or the streaming companies. So at one point, I had 8 national commercials running at one time. You get residual checks. You get paid on those. So every time it airs, you get compensated. I had one commercial for Citicorp. I made $88,000 in a 2-year period because they kept editing it. They kept cutting it down from a minute to 30 seconds to 15 seconds, and I kept being in that commercial. That's rare. A national commercial making $88,000 is rare. It's really tough to break out of that. And so as an actor, when you make the decision to become a spokesperson on a national campaign that's going to run for years, you've taken yourself out of all the commercial market. There's no way you're going to be working for anybody else. Your face is too recognizable. You're branded with that, and that's what they want. They want you branded. So for that, you're going to have to pay up. And your agents and managers once it becomes a successful campaign, they really drill that. Their job is to get you the most money because, again, you're being exploited. It's possible with national commercials that are union. These days, that's the other screwy thing that's happened. Because of the internet, because of streaming services, no longer do you get residuals like you used to. And so many things are shot non-union. What you do is you get a buyout. So in other words, you're going to shoot a commercial and they'll tag it on before a show that streams on whatever. I mean, think of YouTube. Think of the commercials that run on YouTube. How in the hell can they keep track of all that stuff? How do you get compensated? It's unrealistic anymore. It's no longer on television where they literally have to log that commercial. So they just do a buyout. They just pay you $5,000 for that spot, or 10 grand, or 2 grand, or whatever it is. And sometimes your agent will negotiate, it'll be for a cycle, for 6 months, $5,000. You want to keep running it, it's another $5,000. I had a Toyota commercial that ran for about a year and a half, and every 3 months they just kept re-upping it. But it was a buyout. I think I got like $3,000. But what the hell? Yeah, I'll take it. So early in my career, it was a gift. So there's another way of getting compensated as an actor, certainly through commercials. Okay, what else? Voiceover work. Books on tape, things like that. You don't need to live in Hollywood or, some major market. You can live in frickin' Montana in a cabin. If you have the right recording stuff, you can compete because you don't have to be in person. You just submit your voice, recording of that commercial, that book on tape. You can get compensated really well for books on tape, but the problem, as I said, is it's become big, huge business. So everybody who's got a frickin' mic and a little laptop to record are doing stuff like that. So there's that, and that's something to think about before you get into it, because you're going to have to make the investment, and you got to get in with both feet. But it is lucrative. There's opportunities there for sure. And then there's the long shot. I make a living doing theater. It's almost impossible. Let me tilt these up a little bit so you can see those posters. There we go. So, the Vincent Show, over 20 plus years, I made a ridiculous living just touring that show. The Meisner play, I tour that all over the world as well. I have 3 children's shows, and I get compensated really, really well. I'm represented by one of the top agencies in the world. They're able to negotiate very high fees for me. Hell, when I just go give a talk like this, my speaking fee is significant. There are ways as actors, once you reach a certain level, to be able to be compensated just for giving talks and teachings. When I go do my shows in communities, well, hell, I don't mind telling you. Here, ready? Okay, that show goes out at $10,000 a night. Okay, Vincent. And when I go give a talk, I get $2,000 for a couple hours. $1,000 an hour is what I get to go to a college and talk to the theater department, something like that. In the course of a week, you're making $30,000, $40,000 a week if you're doing multiple shows, right? But you're not doing that every single week, so I don't want to mislead that. Again, that's before taxes and before you paid your agent and managers. So you have the dream of becoming a working actor, right? You want to get compensated for this. You don't want to just be an actor. I say this all the time. You want to be a working actor. So the more poles that you can have in the water, the better. You can write and create content and create a show, a series for yourself. How great is that, right? And attach yourself to it. That's one way to be able to start making more money as an actor, and be able to, whether it's films or theater or television or voiceover or commercials, the more poles you have in the water, the better. There's no doubt about that. And then you're going to reach a certain point where, when you're so successful that you're not going to want to do a lot of those things anymore. I certainly got to a point where I didn't want to do commercials anymore. Wasn't like I was above them, but I was just wanted to work smart, not hard, and running around Hollywood doing commercials was no longer serving me. Even though I was compensated very well for a couple of years, it reached a point where I was better off spending my time with very talented people who were ahead of me, collaborating, writing, creating, shooting our own projects and things that led to be able to get more exposure, which led to working your way up the food chain, to be able to have agents like I have when I'm with the William Morris Agency. What a blessing that is, all because of my ability to parlay and work my way up the food chain in terms of compensation and career as an actor. And that's really what I want for you. And the final thing I'll leave you with is this. I know it's tough. It's been called the most competitive profession on the planet for a reason. And I want you to be successful in your dreams. And for that to happen, you got to be in with both feet, man. Both feet. Are you going to do this or not? There's my question for you. Are you going to do this or not? Do you have both feet in or not? Because I know this. You quit, it's over. So I don't want you to quit. I'll see you soon.